Hey everyone, this is Mariana, and welcome back to another episode of Homeward by Big Apple Catholic. I can't believe we're already on episode 3. Wild. Absolutely wild. Like we've mentioned, we're really laying the groundwork here in these first 3 episodes of Homeward, of where we're going, of the mindset that we want to have walking forward, and especially the contemplative heart that we're trying to rediscover within ourselves and the enchantment of the world. That's what we're here for. We had, as you know, the gift of having Dr. Sarah Maple for our last episode. And if you haven't listened to that one, would highly encourage you to listen to that one first. And this week, we are joined by another wonderful guest, Mr. Bill Donaghy, who some of you may know through the Theology of the Body Institute. Our guest today has worked in mission, evangelization, and education for over 25 years. He has a background in visual arts, philosophy, and systematic theology. He has taught biblical studies and theology courses for a private high school for boys and served for over 13 years as an adjunct professor for Immaculata University. Presently, he teaches theology at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary, as well as for Homeschool Connections Online, offering live interactive courses for middle and high school age students. Bill is a senior lecturer for the Theology of the Body Institute, which is how Katie and I got to know him, as well as a certification program instructor, national and international speaker. He has been giving talks, retreats, and courses to bishops, priests, deacons, consecrated men and women, and the lay faithful throughout the world since 2006. He developed the course, The Way of Beauty, Theology of the Body and Art, for the Theology of the Body Institute in 2015, and launched Poets for the Kingdom, the Sacramental Stories of C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien in November of 2023. He and his wife, Rebecca, live just outside of Philadelphia with their 4 children. I'm so grateful to Bill for saying yes to this conversation and for engaging us in all of our questions of wonder, of suffering, of reenchantment. We especially had a really cool conversation on technology and neuroscience that I'm excited for you to hear. In fact, I was so excited that I totally fumbled the intro, which you'll hear in a few seconds. So you'll you'll see how excited I was for that. Thank you all so much for being here, and I really hope that you enjoy this next episode.
Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. A tutti I popoli, a tutta la terra, la pace sia con voi.
Well, hello, everybody. Sorry, I'll start again. I just choked.
Whoa, drunk on the spirit already, Katie. She's lit.
I've been slain. I've been slain.
I've been slayed already.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Homeward. This is Mariana and Katie, and we're so excited to have you here with us for this journey. We mentioned in our last couple episodes that we are really laying a lot of groundwork here at the beginning of our project, and so this episode is a big part of that in our own hearts, and we're excited for everybody to be here and join us in this epic journey of going home. Katie girl, you and I have been pretty pumped and excited to talk about the topic of wonder in general, but we're especially excited for our guest here who is with us.
Yeah, anyone who knows me knows that this is pretty much a dream. So we have been just thrilled to actually, honestly, just get to talk to you, Bill, and get to ask some of our questions to you. And we're just really grateful for the role you've played in kind of shaping how we have desired to see the world. So yeah, we pumped is an understatement.
My gosh, what an intro! I'm already all weepy and stuff. I'm so grateful and humbled by those words, those brief words already. I'm very excited. I mean, we've all been wooed by the bridegroom, right? We've all been taken by his gaze, and so I'm just so happy that I get to teach and open my own heart, and that you, as learners like me, have been also wooed by the God of wonders. And so, yeah, I think this is gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun.
We're definitely already having fun. So
Yes, we are.
yeah, I think we our first encounter with you was probably at, like, post-focus training, kind of the week-long,
Mhm.
Theology of the Body retreat, and I think that was, like, a pivotal point for Mariana and I's friendship as well, and being, like, caught up in this
Wow.
language of who we are and what we're made for, um, and yeah, I just remember that being super transformative, for both of us and kind of giving us an answer to this longing that we had just not been able to put into words, because
Yeah.
it is so special and, so beautiful. Um, and I remember talking about Moana and going we all would go watch the sunset, and I was like, "These are my people."
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, I'm quite familiar with that and with all of that, what you just said. And isn't it amazing that this getting in touch with this longing and this piercing ache, um, it shouldn't be hard to, it's the quest of everybody, like, we literally are
Mm,
an ache, right? We've talked about this on our retreats that Father Thomas Dubay says we are an embodied ache. But sometimes it takes years for somebody to tell us that, to tell us
Mm,
you are athirst and you're not weird. You're you're made for more. You're made for this home. I love the name of your podcast, right? Homeward.
mm,
That's what the ache's pointing to. So yeah, praise the Lord that we've been given this grace. All of us have been given this grace to put our finger on it, but at the same time, it's elusive, right? Aslan is on the move. That's the whole thing. Like he's moving and but we're caught up in it. So yeah.
mm. Bill, I would love to hear your first experience hearing this in your life. You voiced it for us, but maybe a good place to start is who voiced it for you
Ooh.
first?
mm,
Wow, that's a great question. Yeah, and I think, um, the the we're talking about the unknown known in the words of Pope Benedict XVI.
Mm,
This unknown known, like this thing, which we could call our response to it is called wonder, right?
mm,
But it's the mystery of God. We almost don't wanna just say God real quick. We wanna say the unknown known, the great mystery. I love that
mhm,
language. It's the language of the mystics. I honestly think I was probably 10. I was a little kid and, I was drawn into quiet fields and cranberry bogs where I grew up in pine forests. There was something about, the isolation of nature where it was just quiet and just me on my bike that started stirring the presence, capital P presence. I'm a kid of the '70s and '80s, so without a doubt, the music of John Williams in films like Star Wars and E.T., these things, these images, these stories shaped me in a big, big way. The author Christiana Hale says, "The stories that we read when we're young shape us, right? They shape
mhm,
us and make us who we are. So what are you? You are what you eat." And I was consuming um, the Star Wars mythology. I was consuming the adventures of Indiana Jones, the mystery of ET, the extraterrestrial, um, all these otherworldly kind of adventures was what I was consuming, and then stumbling onto the works of Tolkien in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I mean, I was just undone, right? And I couldn't put my finger on what that was yet, but but it still haunts me. I'm still I'm still haunted by it in the best way possible, and it makes the wonder makes the ache like stretch even more to this Grand Canyon size, and it it just I love it. It does
mhm,
not get old.
mm.
The journey of wonder, which started for me when I was 10, through all these encounters, is like ever ancient, ever new. But yeah, I think to go back, like those were some of the hallmarks. The works of Tolkien, the cinematic adventures of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, the music of the great composer John Williams, and nature just like cracked me open.
I can resonate with Lord of the Rings recently, Bill. I had never read it until the last year,
Oh my
and
gosh, I'm excited for you.
it, uh it is naming something new in me, kinda like you're saying. Different,
Wow.
which is an interesting experience of reading it as an adult, having never been exposed to it,
Mm,
and it's reminding me of kinda like you're saying, all these stories that I read as a kid and
wow.
finally putting wonder to that language, to that experience.
Isn't it beautiful when we encounter him, capital H, through story and image, somehow it just seems to have more power because it's like, whoa, it's almost like he snuck around the back door,
Yeah.
right? It's just like Aslan. It's just like C.S.
Mm,
Lewis's work in Narnia,
mm,
where you're like, wait a minute, I think I know, but then he never says it explicitly. I'm like, wait a minute, but you don't. It's almost like the anticipation for the thing is better than when you actually get the thing.
mm,
Ironically, with our Lord, that'll all be inverted. He'll be more than we could ever possibly have imagined.
mm,
But yeah, there's something about these little teases, these fragrances and whispers that are we're so excited because we just there's this there's a presence of the holy, and but it's a different holy. It's not like going to church and it's like a library and everybody be quiet, shh, be quiet. It's a
mm,
different,
mm,
it's a pregnant stillness.
mm.
And he comes at us in all these different ways too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was kinda thinking about, I remember a few years ago being in this place spiritually where I was like, "I have to read the most intense books that I can find," and I was taking it on and it very quickly got crushed, and then out of nowhere, I was like, "Maybe I should just read Narnia," and I had never read it, and that was precisely what I needed.
Wow. Can I speak into that real quick, Katie?
Please.
This is a fantastic story about C.S. Lewis. He had a conversion late in life as an Oxford professor with the help of J.R.R. Tolkien, brought back into Christianity. And he was kind of on this apologetics kick, and he was debating with a woman. Um, Her last name was Ascombe. I can't remember the first name, but it kind of floundered a little bit. And he got frustrated because he was trying to communicate the mystery he'd encountered in his conversion, C.S. Lewis. And he was like, these words, this apologetic stance isn't working. After that debate, he started writing Narnia
Mm,
because he realized, like, I have so much to convey, and the only way to do it is through poetry and story. Like, it can't be syllogisms and argument, and therefore, ergo, believe in
mm.
God, right? It's like, no, let me tell you a story
Yeah.
which will shoot a torpedo under the radar of your
Mm,
mind, destroy your heart. Then your heart will be so open, you'll want with your mind to pursue the truth of the beauty that you just destroyed you. I don't think there's any other way really to have a full-bodied encounter with God.
mm.
Yeah.
That's Mariana and I have been talking about this a lot actually of kind of the why that in certain times, a particular artist who maybe isn't, explicitly Christian, something about their music could be so piercing, whereas
Yes.
sometimes it's harder to enter into a particular prayer or, like kind of the difficulty there. I wonder if that's something you could speak into.
Yeah. Well, let's go right to the Gospels. And when we say that, people might be like, okay, the moralistic codes, the thou shalt nots. No. There's a line in the Gospels. Jesus spoke to them in parables. He only spoke
Mm,
to them in parables. What's a parable? A story.
mm,
So if the Lord's pedagogy was story, um, how did we ever lose the wonder of that? Like,
mm,
why do we go, well, no, here's what you should do, and you
mm,
shouldn't do this, but you should do that. What? That's not the way he rolled. That's not the way he taught. So he knew that the whole because he made it, the whole universe is iconic, it's sacramental. When you look at wind in the trees, when you hear bird song, when you watch running water, it's an objective reality, but it's subjectively hitting your heart. What's it make you think about? The movement of the spirit, the song of songs, the cleansing, healing power of water. Everything has a double meaning, right? Everything is packed. That's why we can all look at art or hear music or read poetry and we're all getting different angles. We're like, whoa, what's going on? Because this thing is dynamic and alive. So I think that's why, and it's also it's everywhere. Everybody's moved because we're made for story. We're in a story. Anybody who taps into story is tapping into God.
mm,
And so with you, Katie, when I discover somebody who's on the journey, like me, maybe from a whole different place, but I'm like, this guy's on a journey.
yeah.
They're talking about truth, goodness, and beauty. I'm like, okay, let me lean in and see how he is pursuing you.
Mm,
Some of my favorite artists, singers, painters, are they're quite removed from like an Orthodox Catholic worldview, perhaps. But
Oh,
at the same time, I'm like, wait a minute, you're really close.
yeah.
G.K. Chesterton says everybody who lives long enough will become Catholic. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
We just talked, Bill, with Dr. Sarah Maple for our last episode.
Mm,
We talked about Lucy and Narnia and her innocence and
mm,
kind of where I find myself and I think where Katie also finds herself, if I could speak for the both of us, is a season and yeah, a challenge of learning to be moved again. It seemed like it was something
yeah.
that was very natural to us that we didn't even think about. And then life happens,
Mm,
trials happen, and I feel like I kinda got knocked over, and now I'm having to very consciously reengage
mm,
wonder in a way that's just different to me.
yeah.
And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the idea of reengaging wonder when maybe we've lost it. And,
Yeah.
is it something we recover? Is it something we're taught again? I would love to hear.
Yes, start with the ending. It can be recovered. It must be recovered. But
Mm.
it sounds like you've been doing some adulting lately. This is what happens when we get into the business of life and the bills and the plans and the schedule
Mm.
and the workload, um, which is necessary. It's necessary, but it has a way of disenchanting us. Um, C.S. Lewis, again, we'll probably quote him about 14 more times before the end of the episode. But C.S. Lewis went through this trajectory himself, and he kind of nailed it for all of us. He says there's 4 levels to life, right? We all start in unenchantment, and that simply means as babies, we're just surrounded by a clutter of a universe of things, and we're not really sure the difference between, a tennis ball, a tree, and we're kind of just, I don't really know, and we're just feeling and mostly shoving it in our face, right? Babies like, "Oh, no, no, don't put that in your mouth." They're just trying to figure it out. So, unenchantment, stage 1, and then enchantment, right? This is the child of wonder, the child from what, 2, 3 to, like, 6, who
Mm.
everything is, "Whoa," and every kid's like, "Dad, Mom, look at this. Whoa." "When I shake this tinfoil, look at the light." And we're like, "Dude, it's tinfoil." Because we're in stage 3 of disenchantment. We're like, "Oh, you just use that to wrap food." But the kid's
Mm.
like, "No, it's amazing. It's like lightning in my hand." By the way, I'm just making this up as we go. But,
Pretty
but think of
impressive, though.
of level 2, enchantment means, like, I suddenly see, like, it's amazing. This doesn't have to exist. Tree,
Mm,
bird, frog, paper, s anything, everything. So unenchantment, enchantment, wow, disenchantment of, like, well, there's a use to that. Put it down.
Mm.
Your hand's clean, don't break it.
Mm.
Disenchantment is it's just utilitarian, whatever, yeah,
mm,
Um, 4th stage, reenchantment. Reenchantment is going back and saying, "Whoa." This is when the parent finally realizes, "Oh my gosh, my child is helping me reengage with reality and what's most important." So
Mm.
when they put their smartphone down and actually go, "What is it, honey?" Then they have this shining moment of re-enchantment. Where they're, "Look what I did with this stick. Look what I can do." And when they pause for a minute, like, "Oh," and then what comes swirling back is nostalgia, longing, my first enchantment. That's
mm.
amazing. Yeah, buddy, let's go ride bikes. I'll climb that tree. I'm 47 years old, but I'm gonna climb that tree right now. Re-enchantment. So we can recover it, Mariana, to your point. But what does it take? It takes the adult. It's an invitation for the adult to become a hobbit, to get little again, to shrink, to unadult themselves, because this is a divine mandate. Unless you become like a little child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven.
Mm.
How often do we hear that, right? Oh, yeah, yeah, I know that's a good one. Jesus, thanks, Jesus. Yeah, it's a commandment. Unless you
Mm.
become like a little child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven unless you get re-enchanted.
Yeah.
Mm.
This is why the Pharisees were so annoying to Jesus because they were so adult and so disenchanted. "Hey, Jesus, you can't work a miracle on the Sabbath. Just knock it off." Everybody else is like, That was a miracle, right? They're disenchanted. They don't see it. So yeah,
Mm,
this is the whole world at this point. We have to get re-enchanted. We have to have a recovery. Tolkien says in an essay on fairy stories, we have to see green again and red and blue. I just
mm,
remember getting hit by that line. What is he talking about? Oh, we have to learn to see color again.
mm,
Grass is amazing. The blue sky. The saints and mystics were in this perpetual drunkenness because they were always re-enchanted, right? They saw sacramentally, they saw through it. They saw that there was a use to things, but they saw above all that it didn't even have to exist. None of this is necessary. So we can recover it. We must
mm.
recover it.
Yeah, that's kind of something we've been talking a lot about as well as, the pressure to kind of live this serious life, get
Yeah.
on the grind, be as efficient. Like I got stuck in all of these reels of like, this is what you do at 7 a.m. and then 7:30 and then 8. And I was like, I have lost like I can't that's not how a human being lives. And the kind of the pressure to take life seriously in that way.
Yeah.
But then also us knowing, like, that's not a heart that's alive, like, our hearts
Oof.
need more than that,
Yes.
um, but I know a lot of people who kind of put brush it off maybe as, like, a childish way of looking at life,
Yeah.
and, I guess maybe if you wouldn't
Mm.
mind just speaking into, like,
Oh,
how
yeah.
this way of wonder is a more grounded take on reality than
Yeah.
just kind of the pharisaical, no, taking life so seriously and, in a utilitarian way of
Yeah.
seeing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. These are great questions. Man, we need 3 hours for this interview. Um, for a couple of things real quick. There's a big difference between childish and childlike, right? Childish is immature, irresponsible. Childlike is wonder-filled, grounded in the real. And you said, I know that you said something like, that there's more than, like, that's important, but there's more. So we don't wanna dismiss, it's the active engagement with the world and responsibility and relationship that's important. But the contemplative aspect is more
Mm,
important. So we in our church, we breathe with both lungs. We have the active and the contemplative.
mm,
We have the icons of Martha and Mary. Uh, but Jesus is pretty clear. Mary has chosen the better part.
mm,
So this contemplative gaze, this spirituality of wonder, is more important. Pope Francis said it this way: Mary is more important than all of the apostles. He said the Marian dimension must precede the Petrine dimension. Our Lady's open, thirsty, aching heart for the bridegroom, Jesus, to fill her, is more fundamental and important than the Petrine Peter doing, right?
mm.
Being is more important than doing. Again, we're working in tandem here, but there is a hierarchy. Can I throw some neuroscience at you and sound super cool and nerdy? Okay, I'm reading
We
this
would love
book. I'm reading this book by Dr. Ian McGilchrist. He's like a Cambridge, Oxford trained neuroscientist, super brilliant guy. And it's called The Master and His Emissary, this book on brain science. Have you heard of this book? Dr. Ian McGilchrist. Okay.
Mm-mm, no.
A lot of it's going over my head. And, neuroscience. That's a joke, by the way. Get it? It's about the brain. It's going over my head.
Oh, but,
Yay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
I
got
had
us.
I had 3 coffees today, so I'm pumped and ready. Um, but a lot of it is also incredibly succinct and powerful and speaking to our age. So here's I'll just boil it down real quick. And I'm not done the book yet. It's massive. But he says, you got your left hemisphere, right hemisphere of your brain. And they do have different functionalities. He says, from all the research and all we've done, the left hemisphere is really good at hyperfocus, categorizing, identifying parts, um, details. It's like STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, and math,
Mm,
STEM school. That's very left hemisphere of the brain. The right hemisphere, he says, is the holistic, wider view. It's more narrative, poetic,
mm,
and has the ability to recognize faces. Okay, so the story, wider picture, and the face is what the right hemisphere of the brain is able to function and identify. The left hemisphere of the brain is parts. The right hemisphere is person, whole person. And he says, you know what's been happening in the last decades? We as a culture are so left hemisphere
Mm,
obsessed right now
mm,
with our algorithms and our function and efficiency in the machine that we're losing our story and
mm.
our ability to recognize the face. And I'm reading this like, oh my gosh, this guy just put his finger on it. In fact, his whole fist just came down on it. This is it. Look at our culture. We're
Mhm.
splintered, distracted, focused on the pieces. We're losing our story and we're not looking at each other's faces anymore. Unbelievable. So, like, we
Wow.
wonder what is wonder and the spirituality of wonder, but letting the right hemisphere, we're getting very biological here, but you see how it points to the theological.
Love it.
Yeah.
We're letting the
Mhm.
right hemisphere do its job. In the book, the right hemisphere is the master and the left is the emissary. The left does important work, but it gathers information to be drawn into the right, which will then process the story and the narrative. So the spirituality of wonder opens up all that functionality and capacity to see the big picture and see that a human person, above all, must be
Mm,
seen and recognized in the face. Right? This
mm,
and scripture is loaded with allusions to the face. Let us see your face. Let your face shine
mm,
upon us. We shall be saved. Right? Jesus looked at him. It's the
mm,
face. Wonder in that sense, you couldn't have a more grounding reality or experience than looking at another face and being filled with wonder at that face. Everybody wakes up when you look at them and you smile. Good morning. They're like, oh, hi. I do this intentionally now, by the way, on my walks because nobody's looking at us anymore. Or you're on an airplane, nobody's looking at you. You're waiting for an Uber, nobody's looking at you. But if you just arrest them and like, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day going?" Like, "Ah, whoa, I'm alive, and you're alive too. It's amazing." It's one of these, what's the Elf movie with Will Ferrell, right?
Yes.
Where everything is amazing. I mean, he's a bit extreme, but that's the
Yeah.
antidote to the obsession with the
Mm,
machine and mechanism and efficiency. We are not
mm,
machines. We are humans.
mm.
Um, John Paul II says, "Our name in the beginning was wonder." He wrote a beautiful poem, and in it, John Paul II says, "In the beginning, our name was wonder." That's being a human. That's being grounded. That's being real. We're not escapists or idealists. We're not floating into clouds. We are literally human. That's why we need
Mhm.
wonder.
Mm.
This is fun, by the way. Thanks for inviting me onto this podcast. I
Bill,
could
come on 5 or 6 more times.
Captain America. I could do this all day, right? From the Marvel movies.
Just another cup of coffee and he's good to
Oh,
go.
yeah. But how important is this
Ugh.
stuff? It is literally back to Martha and Mary. Jesus says, there's one thing necessary.
Mhm.
Mary has chosen the better part. This is the one thing.
Bill, I'm so glad you brought up the neuroscience because Katie and I have been reaching out to people to talk about that,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
We're learning about it, and, I think it was Arthur Brooks in a recent
Hmm.
something he did, was
Hmm.
talking about how every time we're on technology on our phones, it's entirely left brain,
Yep.
and so I'm filled with hope and challenge for myself because I'm
Mm.
looking at faces on my phone, but it's
Yeah, it's
neurologically
different.
doing nothing. I mean, it's
Exactly,
hurting
because
me.
it's one dimensional and not an full embodied experience.
I'm eager to hear more. I think that is going to
Yeah.
be huge for people,
No,
Very
this is
validating.
it. I'll tell you this. It is, ladies, a fascinating time to be alive. Like all the masks are off. Like you can just see
Yeah.
this is going to kill us. This is going to give us life. It's never been more crystallized or clear. And how ridiculous we are as humans that we just keep running down this
Yeah.
intoxicating path of destruction where look what you can do. Look what you can do. And we have amazing technology, but we do the dumbest things with it. And
Yeah.
we're missing life itself.
Mm.
Wow.
Wow.
Arthur Brooks is brilliant. We have see this is why it's a fascinating and awesome time to be alive. While Western civilization is crumbling and falling into a cesspool. Anyway, the exciting thing is that we have voices like Arthur Brooks and Jordan Petersons and Jonathan Pageaus and Bishop Barons and a host of others. Oh my gosh, I'm loving Louise Perry and Mary Harrington. These are other philosophers and thinkers
Mm.
today. Wonderful men and women who are like, wait a minute, there is more. Humans are awesome. We're not ashamed. We have a weird culture that's saying we should be ashamed of being human. You filthy humans are destroying the planet. You're a plague upon the planet. No, we're not. We're the
Interesting.
princes and princesses of the planet. We're kings and queens. We screwed it up, but the answer isn't get rid of all the humans and let
Hmm.
the AI robots take over. I'm going far afield. Arthur Brooks had a great thing. He said in another piece, he says, you need to be bored. Maybe you've seen this one. You need to be
Mm.
bored because we think it's bad to be bored, so we jump on technology and we flick through our phones and we do all left hemisphere analysis stuff, which kills us. He says you have to be bored because when you're bored, you wonder. Well, I
Mm.
wonder, and then you're in a quiet, pregnant lacuna moment, an unfilled space, lacuna, an unfilled gap, and in that space of wonder, you make connections and correlations. You go back to your past. You think about your life. You dream of the future. Or you could just pick up your smartphone and flick through some stupid Instagram reels. So he says the boredom is key. That's where creativity flows from.
Hmm. I think we literally did talk about that, with Dr. Sarah Maple and,
Oh, wow.
especially for kids, like, giving them the space to be bored, and I have a niece, and, we were babysitting her once, and, usually you wanna interact with them, which that's great, but my husband was like, "Just give her a second, like, let's just see what she does." And just watching her mind form and, figure out different things and try different things, it's like, that's when she's growing, and the
Yes.
same for us, like, I remember at one point it sounds really sad, this was probably like towards the end of high school, realizing like, we can just think through things. It's not I think we're so quick to look it up or ask
Uh
somebody else
huh.
or do something,
Uh
but the
huh.
fact that our minds we can actually think of a resolution to a certain problem or like you said, this is what,
Mhm.
draws people to creativity, to create anything,
Yeah.
and that is allowing them to become more fully themselves, whereas any kind of quick fix is just silencing that longing.
Wow. Yeah, and it's dehumanizing us. It's unpersoning us because we just become a kind of sluice where information comes in, goes
Mm,
out, comes in, goes out, and there's no retaining, right? There's a comedian, Pete Holmes, who talks about this on late night TV with Conan O'Brien. I think it was an interview or a bit that he does where he says, anymore, because you can just ask Siri or Google or Alexa, he's like, how do they blah, blah, blah? He says, knowing feels like not knowing because there's
mm,
no, I haven't gone through a process. I haven't exercised any muscles whatsoever, intellectual
mm,
or physical, to get knowledge. So there's a brief moment of, huh, and I move on to the next thing. But
mm,
I have not grown. I have not been stretched. I have not created a pattern, a groove, so to speak, where now information is locked in. Like I know how to do it. Yeah, God help us if the technology, if electricity shuts off on the planet, we're done. There goes 90% of humanity. They're like, how do I get home? It won't work. We have no memory of
mm.
anything, including people's numbers, to call. Like we just don't know anything. And this is frightening. Isn't it funny how right now we're having this conversation that is beautiful and frightening at the exact same time? It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
It's exactly how it
Mm,
feels.
Exactly how it
Mm.
feels.
thank God for faith, right? Like the reason we're
Mm,
laughing is another sacramental moment, right? The sense of humor
mm.
is a sacramental activity because we see through things and we realize it's okay. Like if it all goes to pot, it's all right. Jesus is here. All shall be well. Thank God for
Yeah,
humor.
that's probably the most freeing thing that we heard the past couple years is it's okay to laugh. Like that the freedom of holding life, almost with open hands. Like this is ours, but I don't have to grasp it. I don't have to
Oh yeah.
fight to stop my aging and all these, this kind
Mm,
of
mm,
holding on to something that is just a gift. And yeah,
Uh-huh.
bringing laughter into it, I think, is the one thing that's healed us in a lot of ways.
Yes. Yeah, it's, back to G.K. Chesterton, he says the most mysterious unseen thing about our Lord, but he says something like, "Probably the most present was his mirth." Right? You know that line?
Yeah.
His joy. I love
I
that.
think that's
That's
how he ends the book, right?
oh, yeah,
Orthodoxy. I think
yeah.
that's,
Is it
like, the very
orthodoxy?
end. I
Yeah, it is
remember
the very end.
thinking, "What?"
Yeah, you're like, "Wait a minute, let me read that again. Did he just say"
Yeah.
and this is also though Saint Michael is my patron saint, Saint Michael the Archangel. When I was in, 8th grade growing up in New Jersey, I decided to pick an archangel with a sword. And I don't even know if that was legit. Like, can you have a patron saint who's not human? I don't know, but they let me do it. But anyway, Saint Michael, I love him because now I need him so badly. His name means "who is like God," and to me, Michael in Hebrew, "who is like God," is like a laugh. It's like, what? Like to Satan, "Who is like God? What are you, nuts? This well, you can't win.
Mm,
How ridiculous." I hear Michael, his name, as a laugh, not a
mm,
sarcastic laugh, but a laugh of pure jubilance and humility of like,
mm.
"No, how silly. You thought you could conquer God? Why would you even wanna do that?" Yeah, so laughter. There's something magical
Mm,
about it, and deeply human.
mhm.
Bill, this is switching gears ever so slightly, but we were talking about kind of grasping onto information. And I think we all experience that, especially the people that listen, generally people of prayer, pursuing a life of holiness.
Mhm.
But I'm curious to hear how that might seep into our interior life because I feel it in my own life of the way that I treat technology. I start treating prayer or I start
Mm,
treating a song where I'm trying to get
mm.
everything I can from it. So I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on how does it seep in and how can we encourage each other in that?
This is a really good question. How does it seep in? Meaning meaning that I'm operating for function and utility and to get a task done? Is that
Correct.
okay?
Yes.
Okay, I might need to get a second here to bring up a quote from Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, 12th century, doctor of the church,
Yes.
which will destroy you. It
We'll
is
have a
so
moment of
it is
silence for the
a
destruction.
moment of silence. It is so good. Um, he nails it, and he's actually really called me out. Because um, I'm a teacher. I'm a apostle of beauty and wonder, and I travel internationally and speak on the theology of the body and the spirituality of wonder. But he called me out that I was letting this stuff run like right through me instead of abiding
Mm,
in it and really authentically wasting time with it, like Mary at the feet of Jesus.
mm.
I was doing the Martha thing, right? I had the what I joke about, right? The Martha complex. Um, MMC. Ask your doctor. You might have MMC. Here is the
The
line.
only ad.
Yeah. Um, is this the line? Oh, it's not. I want to kind of I can sum it up. I'll paraphrase. So this is amazing, right? 12th century doctor of the church, Bernard of Clairvaux, Cistercian monk. But he says, paraphrasing, that many of us who want to teach or evangelize or share the encounter with our Lord, gifts come to us, but we so speedily want to disperse them that we become like a sluice or a what's it called, viaduct, and
Oh.
the goodness and beauty and truth has not permeated our own heart, but we have quickly flushed it out. So okay, great song. Wow, I can teach off this. Whoa, great spiritual reading I'm doing. Oh, this quote is amazing. I can't wait to use this in my next Bible study. Well, look at this art. I'm gonna grab this painting. I'm gonna put it in the folder because I have a talk next week for young adults, and I'm gonna use.
Oof.
Okay, ladies, I Bernard of Clairvaux is like, Bill, this is you. I was like, no, no, it's not true, but it's true. I have been the sluice, the just going like hand off.
Mm,
Oh, check it out, spill it out, and I'm doing
mhm,
this. So in the sense, Mariana, to your point, I was operating in the left hemisphere, even though I was encountering beauty and goodness and
mm,
wonders. I was operating in left hemisphere. Like, what can I do with this? So he says, Bernard of Clairvaux says, we must not be like that channel. We must be like a cistern or a deep pool. and just let this come in and fill, fill, fill. And when it'll spill over. And from the overflow, we will attract others. Others will be drawn from the fullness of our own hearts. And I'm like, oh man, he's right. He's so right.
Mm.
I need to be a cistern or deep pool. And here's what happens though in our frenetic, left hemisphere obsessed, active culture. Yeah, that sounds great. Even that quote is awesome. I can't wait to teach off that quote. That's so true. Let me write that quote down. Right? Like, wait a minute, you hypocrite. It's really hard to put on the brakes and waste time. So, how do we
Mm.
remedy this? Well, I mean, we are ministers of the gospel. We're doing our best. We've been moved by our Lord. We want to move others and draw them into His gaze, right? But so I tried practically to start a day with a good 45-minute to an hour long walk through old growth trees at a local cemetery. I do my rosary and then I just walk. Sometimes I don't say a thing. I just walk. I look. I'm seeing deer and fox and birds and then I come back to our back deck, which is I call my little Rivendell. And now, Mariana, you know what Rivendell is, right? Rivendell
I
is,
do indeed.
oh man. So the backyard with the trees, more bird song, some lights, incense or light a candle, have a little icon, just sit there. I'll drink the gospel of the day in, I'll listen to that. But a lot of times I'll just enjoy a good hot cup of coffee and just be. And so I'm letting the cistern fill up, fill up, fill up. And then, it's 7 a.m. and the kids come down and it's time to get ready for school. And now we can start doing some activities. But if you kind of claim the morning, you open to the morning, right? And let it all come in as gift. It's a good way to re-enchant, right? Re-enchantment. There's a great pastor from New York, John Tyson, Protestant pastor. He's Australian originally, but he talks about building this palace of beauty and winning the morning. And if you can win the morning, you've got the day. You win the morning with God. He says, it's poetry, it's movie soundtracks, it's the lectionary, right? He says my default reading is the lectionary, so he's tapped into that, and just enjoy it. Not for a work that you can do something with, but just I'm just going to waste time with God. That was a long answer to that question, but
It's good.
yeah. And I'll find that
Mm.
No,
quote for
I
you.
I
I'll
love
find
it.
that quote for you though, because it's so good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be praying into that a lot more.
Mm. You just validated something you built of recently of, going on walks in the morning, and at first it was like, "Gotta get my 5,000 steps in," which is good, there's a time and place for that.
Yes.
But I started to actually look around me and to listen. I on Fridays, I'll listen to my favorite artist, and I look forward to it every single week, but
Mm.
there was a guilt in me of like, "Well, do I need to be in a chapel right now praying a holy hour?" And
Mhm.
for some people, maybe. But you saying that, I'm like, "Yeah, you're naming my experience every morning of my heart being opened
Wow.
to creation, to the fact that
Mm.
this is the future of, like, when God comes back and reclaims everything, this is it. I'm looking at it. I'm not
Wow,
need to
that's
be looking at
good.
Mars,
That's
and
good.
I'm so excited that you're saying this because it just affirms in me. Thank you for saying that, of
Mm.
the way that my heart engages with other people, with the Lord, with myself, the rest of the day, totally different when I'm opening myself, and it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's very vulnerable. I cry a lot on my walks,
Mm.
but it feels, at the risk of being dramatic, it feels like a war, and every morning I'm like, "I will
Wow.
not let whatever's fighting against me win. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna encounter beauty even in the
Wow.
midst of, whatever's going on." So, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Can I tag in another thought on that? And praise God
Please.
for the affirmation, confirmation. Do it. I mean, absolutely, we need time with our blessed Lord in the Eucharist. We need time, real sacramental encounters, capital S, sacramental encounters. But again, it's always both and. It's not either or, you know. It's both and. And I always go back, as we always should, right, to the Word of God and our story. You've heard this a million times. We've all heard this. We were placed in a garden. But we have, there's this weird strain, I think, sometimes in Orthodox Catholicism, or very devout Catholics think, yeah, but now that's kind of been hijacked, and trees and like that. No, we should just be saying the Rosary at Divine Mercy Chaplet on our knees in chapel. Uh, no, reclaim. He put us in a garden. He gave us five
Mhm.
senses. He speaks to us. Can I go back to Bernard of Clairvaux? He said once, all that I've learned of the scriptures, I learned in the woods and the fields. Yeah, from the beech and the oak. I read that, I'm like, "What the?" Yes, validation. I knew it. I knew it since I was 10 years old. There's something going on here. He's saying something. Of course he is. He made it. He made
Mm.
the maple and the house finch and the fox. It's not useless. It's not like, well, I mean, I also do. I just made some foxes and stuff and some birds. No, he did it intentionally. He did it on purpose, and he wants us to waste time with it. And
Mhm.
ask what it's saying about him. So, yeah, encourage, take the walk. 10,000
Mm.
steps a day, Mariana, 10,000.
My doctor's gonna love that, Bill.
Okay, yeah, just talking about the garden, this was kind of a bit more lighthearted, but my husband and I were watching, it's a new show on Netflix called This Is a Gardening Show. Have you heard of this?
I have, it's a Zach, what's his last name?
Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, Galifianakis, yes.
Have you watched
No, I
any of
can't
it?
wait till we saw his
Bill,
trailer.
it we were both like, "What is happening?" Like,
Wow.
we were both so pierced by it 'cause I mean,
Ooh.
they're, like, only 16 minutes, there's only, like, 6 of them, and he's kinda going through different foods and just, like, gardening things. Apparently, he, like, moved to this island off of Canada where there's, like, 1,000 people, and that's just, like, his life now is, like,
Oh
having
my
a garden,
gosh.
and, like, every episode he's talking
Wow.
about, like, um, he's like, "I think the only way forward for the human race is a garden." Like, he's
Oh
saying
my
things like
word.
that. So it's like, "Oh, you get this," and he's interviewing kids. It's really wholesome and really sweet.
Okay,
Um,
I will
but there was
absolutely watch
something
it.
captivating about it, and I think it's exactly what you're saying of, yeah, this is what where we were made to be. That initial
Mm,
part of our heart is feels home there in a way that we don't in other places, and
yeah,
so just seeing how he gets that is really beautiful.
thanks for that. I am absolutely
Yeah.
gonna do that. I did see a little pop-up on it. Oh, that's good. Yes, it makes total sense. And it was our home. It's a foretaste of our ultimate home.
Mm.
Um, the Revelation speaks of this, right? Of life-giving streams and trees bearing fruit throughout the year. Like, it's our return, it's home,
Mm.
and it's so beautiful. Wow. I love that Zach's doing that show because he's the guy, the Between Two Ferns guy, right? He does that really
Yeah.
hilarious. See, back to humor, right? It's sometimes it's the comedians, it's the humorists who are the
Yes.
ones who are gonna save us, right?
Mm.
It's so funny, some of them people tried to cancel them in the last few years, like, it was getting weird because you're not supposed to, but they're the only ones who are prophetically speaking truth through humor, and now he's taking us back to the garden. I love it. I'll absolutely check it out.
Yeah, let me know what you think. I'm excited. I
Mm,
think I think a lot of people will love it, but we keep telling people about it.
great. Your marketing.
Um, One other kinda question that we did wanna ask, if you have any just, like, practical thoughts maybe for someone who wants to enter back into this re-enchantment, or maybe someone who's kinda never had language for that before, like, how would you even begin, that journey? Even if you
Yeah.
have kids or if you don't have kids, um, where how would you start something like that?
Yeah, beginning the re-enchantment process, the healing process of re-enchantment. Wow, great question. Um, just ask Siri, I mean, isn't that funny? That was a joke.
Canceled.
That was a
End
really
of show.
yeah, and wrap. Our sponsors today, um, okay, first thing, unplug. Unplug thyself, and
Mm.
I would say one of the things to get re-enchanted, well, see, re-enchantment means we're going back to our enchantment. So one of the first things we should do is carve out some quiet time, maybe take a big walk, unplug yourself, okay, drop your phone, and take a walk and think about when you were first moved. What moved my heart? What smells, places, songs, tastes, memories, movies, cartoons, bands you listen to. What is this stuff? And don't say, "Oh, that's trivial," or "I shouldn't even." Just
Mhm.
ask the Lord, like, "Lord, what moved me when I was little? What enchanted me the first time?" Um, and then just let that breathe a little bit and come to the surface. And then that'll start to do the detox and start to further unplug you. And then you'll see your blood pressure your heart rate will get, I'm feeling back. I'm feeling more attentive now. Now I can listen. Then I would say, with that new re-enchanted vision, start looking at things that are beautiful. Start like maybe revisiting, in high school we had to read some poems. Yeah. Who do we read again? Emily Dickinson, Robert Frost, William Wordsworth. Let me just look it up. Use your phone for just 1 minute and look up a William Wordsworth poem or something like that. Print it out or go to a library, get a book, and just read it. So, like, I had to do this before and I got disenchanted. Let me look at it through the lens of my eyes now, like through this sacramental way. Let me see. Um, Listen to classical music.
Hmm.
Look up the top 10 most beloved classics of all time. Go to an art museum. Well, I'm not really an artist. I don't care. Go and walk around. Not the modern art section. Go to the medieval section. Sorry. Go to the impressionists. Go to and just don't have expectations. Just unplug yourself and go encounter and listen to the great conversation, capital G, capital C, the great conversation that has been happening for millennia and is philosophers, artists, poets, musicians,
Hmm.
playwrights, and just see what maybe you've been missing and see if it enchants you. And some will and some won't. You might fall in love with Gerard Manley Hopkins' poetry. You might fall in love with Shakespeare. You might fall in love with Ansel Adams' photography. And guess what? Then you start building up this treasure house of things you love. And then you just throw it on your coffee table and you're like, check this out. I would say this too, and this comes from students who take the Way of Beauty course at the Institute with me, the Way of Beauty Theology, Body, and Art. Coming this July, go to tobinstitute.org. Um, in mid-July, we talk about do a bonfire night. Tell people to not bring their phones, but to bring a guitar or a poem or some story that in their life. Uh, just do it. Show up,
Hmm.
and you will no doubt get re-enchanted.
Mm.
Talk about favorite memories, childhood experiences. This is human. This is the reclaiming the lost art of being human and of authentic face-to-face friendship. And is it gonna be awkward a little bit? Yeah. Are people gonna be doing the weird reflex like, "Where's my phone?" Yeah. Well, just let that get the wiggles out, as they say to the kids. Get your wiggles out, and then guess what? You're gonna say, "This is actually cool. Let's do this again.
Mm.
Can we do this every couple weeks, once a month?" Have this like beauty night or lacuna night. That word again, Greek word lacuna means unfilled space.
Hmm.
And just see what happens. That's a way to
Mhm.
re-enchant.
Yeah, that's beautiful, thank you.
Mhm.
That's and it's practical, and good to name that it might be a little awkward. Like,
Yes.
we are so removed from it, we're used to watching videos of people doing cool human things, but what if that was what you were made for,
I love
and
that.
if you did that?
Yeah. Imagine you did it. First person.
Mm,
But I think a good way to wrap this up is to go back to a point that you're making earlier that story matters.
Mm.
And
Huh.
for us, this podcast is really our own search for the true story of being reminded that we come from somewhere, we come from someone, and we're going somewhere, and that isn't
Awesome.
some sort of nice pious thought. It's for us a really matter of life and death in the heart of if we don't if I don't step into this, I'm despair.com.org.edu. Like
Wow.
no
Wow. Yes.
there's no in between. And so
mm,
I'm I'm really eager, I think, to share with people, like, this is good, like, piety in your spiritual life, but it really feels like a war and a necessity, especially now, for us to do this for the sake of our own life, but then for the sake of others. Never, I think, have we ever been more apt as Catholics, as truly in our humanity to bring good news. And
Yeah.
in a sense, it's never been easier. Like the bar is kind of low. Put your phone down and engage with reality. You don't have to write the Summa Theologia part 55,
It's
but I
good.
have like a fiery spirit in me of like it's time for war,
I
and
love
we
it.
fight that in this way. I'm ready. I mean, we need we need to be going and encountering, and I think everyone listening experiences that in their own heart. And I just wanna call everybody to battle with us to go, and it's not escapism, that's what they accused Tolkien and Lewis of.
That's right, but it's
It's
not.
reality.
That's
It's
right.
not.
Mariana, can I call you
Amen.
Joan of Arc for the rest of the episode here?
Oh,
Joan of Arc.
Thank you.
Full oh, man. By the way, I just finished Mark Twain's Joan of Arc, which was
mm,
phenomenal. Mark Twain,
Mm.
Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer wrote Joan of Arc, spent 12 years researching it, went to France to the archives. That book was amazing. So anyway,
mm,
St. Joan of
Mm.
Arc, pray for us. It is a battle. I concur. Um, and we have to do it. And it is
mm,
utterly simple. I love how he said the bar is pretty low. Put your phone down. Luke's gospel says, "Look up, your redemption is near at hand." Put your phone down. Look up, your redemption is near at hand. John Paul II says that the human person, is the way of the church. That's a very mysterious line.
mm,
We are the way of the church, the person. And yeah, the devil's having a field day, unpersoning us, dehumanizing us, making us think we're irrelevant. Everything's gone
Mm.
AI. You can't even tell if it's a
Mm.
person anymore. I'm very suspicious of every screen I look at. I don't know if it's real.
yes.
And
Yep.
so unplug, reclaim the beauty of the faces around you, and root yourself into the real. Um, to quote the Mandalorian, this is the way. This is the way. The person is the way. Um, it's essential. If we don't do this, yeah, we're gonna die. And JP2 is the model.
Mm,
Our courses, we always stress this. When he was a young priest in Poland, it was the Nazi regime, and then after them, the communist regime that were constantly trying to pulverize and crush the person, the family, and any gathering in faith. So his remedy, his battle cry was poetry, beauty, conversation, get into the wilds. And he formed those little środowiskos, those little, literally means space around the hearth or
Mm.
environment, atmosphere,
Wow.
środowisko. And they would just sit in the woods under the trees, under the stars, talk, pray, laugh. Um, this is how we reclaim our humanity. And it's wonderful. We
mm.
just put ourselves in it. Do you know that quote that he said a month before he became Pope back in 1978? Did you ever hear this quote? Okay.
Think
He
so.
he was Cardinal Karol Wojtyła, and I know we're trying to land the ship here. This might be a great ending. He said, it was September of 1978, so he's Cardinal Karol Wojtyła. He is 1 month from becoming named the Pope. He has no idea what's coming. I love it. And he said in a homily, "We must create a climate of wonder. Wonder is necessary so that beauty might enter into human life, culture, and the nation." He says this beauty is the foundation of culture. We must wonder, we must create a climate of wonder. Wonder is necessary so that beauty might enter into human life. This beauty, God is beauty, is the
Mm.
foundation of culture. I've been trying to unpack that for years now. That's my theme song, soundtrack, watermark behind the whole paper of my existence.
Mhm.
Create a climate of wonder. And dear sisters, thank you because you guys are doing this. You're doing this right now in this work, and it's pointing to home. So get out the
Bill.
Kleenex,
Thank you.
ladies. Get out the Kleenex. This is awesome.
Just
Yeah,
gonna
seriously. That's our whole hope is like, yeah, if this can be our small act of war, and it seems so
Yeah,
subtle, but this is it.
but it's not. It's the battle cry of beauty, and it's our rebellion.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, a rebellion,
it's our
truly.
rebellion. Praise God.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Mm.
Do you have any I know you mentioned Mark Twain's Joan of Arc. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Something that's just been bringing you to joy and wonder these days that people might wanna check out?
Gosh, I have to say this. I started doctoral studies a couple years ago on the works of C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. So for 2 years, I've been swimming in literally dozens and dozens of books on these great authors. They are, um, Peter Crave, Dr. Peter Crave says that Lewis and Tolkien are the architects who are building a new cathedral of life and beauty.
Mm.
And so, to your readers, anything by C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, they are prophetic. They are antidotal, if that's a real word. Um, I would check out their stuff. I would read, well, that's enough right there. Also, anything by Peter Kraft. Um, Fulton Sheen is getting fast tracked now, I think, to canonization. He was one of my guides by the side to open up wonder
Mm.
and the importance of beauty. Yeah, there's so many more. I mean, gosh, The Evidential Power of Beauty by Father Thomas Dubay is a phenomenal book. Joseph Pieper. I will have to send these some links. Leisure,
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Basis of Culture by Joseph Pieper. We have so much like kindling out there. And
Mm.
those bits of kindling and wood, those kinds of books, if you put them in your heart, it'll just burst into a bonfire of beauty. And yeah, there's so much more. And so come to the course. Final thing, commercial. This July, whenever this episode drops, you've got a couple weeks to register. So what are you doing? Put down your phone and register. Actually, pick up your phone and go to tobinstitute.org. In mid-July of 2026 here is The Way of Beauty, Theology of the Body, and Art. I do a 5-day immersive retreat on everything we just talked about, basically. And it's at a retreat center in southeastern Pennsylvania. Hundreds of acres, Amish farms everywhere, beauty, bonfires, great food, great conversation from people from all over the world and all over the country. Our students come and yeah, get ready to meet your best friends.
But we can attest to being at your courses, and everybody go.
Mm.
Basically is the
Yep, life-changing.
big summary.
Everybody go. If you're in jail, break out. Get there. Go.
I love it. We actually have a friend, who did, I think, that course, and she very kindly let me borrow her workbooks, and I mean,
Oh, wow.
I'm wrecked just with the workbook, so
Oh,
highly encourage everybody, please
Mhm.
thanks for that.
do your
Ugh.
thing. Bill, well, thank you again. Thank you for this conversation, but thank you for your courage in fighting this war, and the God has clearly entrusted you a particular insight into this, and like Kitty mentioned, we're so grateful that our paths have crossed, and
Mm.
this will never compare to the gift of being with you in person, and the way that you just encountered us as people was striking. The way that the teaching
Mm.
that you give is beautiful, but really who you are and the way that you hold each of us in wonder moved us immensely. So
Yes.
thank you for who you are, and we feel less alone, uh, and
Oh,
that is a big deal in this
oh,
day
it
and
is.
age.
It is.
So thank you.
Mm.
It's my
Thank you
great
very
pleasure.
much.
Thank you so much for blessing my heart with that, with those words. And this time, this has been a
Of
blast.
course. We're glad you enjoyed. We're
Thank you.
glad you enjoyed. Bill, where can people find you if they want to learn more about you?
I will be in Rivendell, which is east of the Misty Mountains. No, that's a funny question because I literally jumped off social media 6 years ago. I don't want to go back. So if you want to find me, um, knock on many doors in southeastern Pennsylvania. No, you can come to the tobinstitute.org website, and we have a YouTube channel where there's a few scatterings of videos, and there's our new podcast, The Word Made Fresh, which is Christopher West,
Ooh.
myself, and Mike Mangione, who's an artist, musician. We do a silly romp through all things truth, goodness, and beauty and TOB. So Word Made Fresh is on our YouTube channel, the Theology by Institute YouTube channel. But yeah,
Mm.
Beautiful. Well, we're going to run to that as soon as this is done.
Absolutely.
We'll come find you.
Awesome.
I'm
Come
going to
back.
Rivendell.
Yes, come back for a course too. Come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Would
That's
love
the
to.
dream.
great.
Mm.
It is the dream.
Yeah, this has been such a gift, Bill. Thank you so much.
My great pleasure.
We hope everybody is a little more encouraged. We just want to encourage you to keep going. Katie's favorite poem, Go to the Limits of Your Longing.
Oh,
Keep
yes.
going. And we'd love to hear what's moving you, what touched you. But in the meantime, know that we love you all. We're praying for you. And we're on this journey homeward, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Bye.